Hello everybody. Alright. Recap last one. We tore everything apart, got the bearings out. Now we got the new bearings sitting up here. I'm gonna take the MAP gas torch and load the junk out of it. I'm gonna heat this center case up a little bit to make the bearing go in easier. Some people say you have to, some say you don't. I have done it both ways. It does go in a little easier if you heat it up the torch. So I'm just gonna throw a little heat on it right fast, quick, and in a hurry. And I'm just taking the torch and heating around the bearing hole. Get a little bit of that on fire there. You know, that's some of the oil that's in the bolt hose. Ain't no big deal. We ain't trying to melt it or catch it on fire. We just want to get it. We want to get it up about 250 degrees, and I don't have my temperature gun on me. I let somebody borrow it and I never got it back. So we're just gonna soak some heat in it and touch it with our finger. And if it burns us real fast, then we'll know it's hot. It don't take a whole lot of heat to get them in there. I got a little bearing driver over here too, so yep, it's hot. Yep. There's one. We're going to let that one sit here on the floor and cool off for a minute while we put the other one in. And we got to make sure what our tools are doing. This is just a little piece of 1 3/4 inch pipe. I don't know whether y'all can see that or not. I made this and I made that, and that just basically sets on there, and you can set that wherever you need to get a little difference in there. And we're going to throw a little heat to this one. This one takes just a little bit more heat because it's thicker. Most of the time this goes alright. Every once in a while we have problems, but hopefully everything will be alright. It's a lot easier when you got your heat gun. You can check the actual temperature, but touching it with your finger and getting it right smart hot, they'll usually drop in there. Yeah. If I could hold the torch still, it'd make a world of difference. Trying not to make this too awful boring, but some of this stuff, this is just the way it is. It ain't exciting. But this will help you get them in there for sure. You try to do it with them cold, and a lot of times you'll peel magnesium up, and that ain't a good way. That's a good way to get your bearings loose in your case. Now you put the bearings in the freezer, they'll go in even better. But I hadn't had time to do that. I just got them out of the box. I'm trying to get this one stuck together so I'll have the bottom end built. And I'm still waiting on the few pieces to come in that I ordered, so yeah. That's hot. It'll sizzle right off her. We're gonna go with it and see what happens. There you go. That's in there. Now, this next one's going to be for everybody that always talks about pulling these cranks in with a puller. And I've told people before I don't do that. I don't have a puller. I don't want a puller, and I ain't going to use a puller. Because I don't like pullers. It's personal preference, I think. I'm not going to put the driver up because we might need to put seals in. That would probably be a wise thing to go ahead and put the seals in. If I can figure out where I put them. The larger seal goes in the clutch side. I think on these, yeah, you can use actually just the driver to get it started. And then just use the flat piece to finish driving it in there flat. That drives them in nice and flat. If you drive them in after you put the crank in, it can be a real challenge. This one here is a little bit harder because it's a little bit different size. A little bit more. Yeah, that won't even fit in there at all. There you go. Yeah, that drives it in nice and straight. Just a bearing seal driver. They sell them for cars. That's the attachment. It goes like that, but you can use just that to drive the seals in a Husky 372. Now, that's going to be the second side we put on. Now, here's our crank. It's cleaned up. We're going to wipe it off again just to make sure. This is a good used one out of one that had a busted set of cases. So, a little bit of dirt there. Alright. Now this is the deal. This is the deal I want to show y'all. If I can figure out how to get it where you can see it. This is a crank bearing heater. They don't really sell them. They sell them for motorcycles, but I've never seen any for chainsaws. But since I know they made them, I made my own. And well, we're just going to dive right in and you'll see. You take this thing and you take the torch and you get it stupid hot, just as hot as you can get it. The hotter you get it, the faster it'll work anyway. When I don't have so much junk sitting on the table, it's a lot easier. You want to wipe it clean. You'll be able to tell when it's hot. It'll start turning kind of blue. But the deal behind this is you get this thing hot. And then you set it down in the bearing, and the heat from this transfers into the bearing. And when the bearing starts to bind up, see, I've got heat coming down to my fingers now. This thing is that long and I can feel the heat coming to my fingers. The proper way they teach you at the motorcycle class that you go to whenever they teach you to learn how to use one of these is to spit on it. If it just blows right off of it, it's hot enough. But if you heat it till you start feeling the heat down in the handle, then you put it in there and you start turning it slow. You can feel the bearing start to seize up. Get your crank ready. And have your hammer out here just in case, because sometimes it don't go all the way in. There you go. No tapping, nothing. All the way to the hilt. No puller, no nothing. That's how I put cranks in. Because it's easier. Now, we got to get everything ready for the other side. And I must have had that on the table. Let me give it just a little bit of a zizz there because I got a little edge on it. There we go. I had a little bit of an edge on that where I bumped it against the table. See what this gasket looks like. We're going to put a little bit of sealer on one side, because that gasket's a little bit looser than what I want it to be, so we're going to put a little sealer in a few spots. And make sure it stays still. Especially up here around this, because, well, that's where the gasket's most prone to coming out. And a little bit of sealer ain't gonna hurt nothing. I'd rather it be sealed than leak. If you're building a 562 5-bolt case, you make sure you do this on all the sides. Put it all over everything. Just ultra grade Permatex is all it is. Got time to clean my bottle back up. Now, we're going to put a little bit on this side too. Now this is where it gets a little bit trickier sometimes. When you go to do this side over here, it don't always want to just drop down on there because you have lineup issues, stuff like that. So you got to make sure you got your dead blow hammer ready, because sometimes you have to tap it a little bit to get it down on there. Now if you have to beat it on there, you ain't got it right. But tapping it on there is completely different than beating the snot out of it. You just want to love tap. There we go. Now, it can be tricky heating that thing up again, because a lot of times, like right now, it's hot. So, you only got two choices. That's either wear a glove or cool it off. I'm going to walk around here and drop her in there for a second, see if I can't cool it off a little bit. Around the handle anyway. And we're going to go back and throw some more heat in it right quick. I'm going to screw the nut off of this thing just to make sure it don't catch the seal. And maybe this will be the one that goes together real well, so y'all will be able to see what it's supposed to look like. But sometimes it goes together real good. Sometimes, like I say, you have to finagle with it just a little bit, but most of the time it goes pretty well. Every once in a while I have to tap it down and then take the bolts and finish pulling it in with the bolts, but usually it's not far off, and that's the way we like it. I like to try to get a little extra heat in this one. See, the bearing's just about locked plumb up now. I just about can't turn it anymore. sometimes it don't want to cooperate. And I don't want to tap on it because I don't have the... There we go. And that's basically the way that I put them together right there. All right. Well, it looks like we're 22 minutes in, so we're going to stop it and go from there. So, all right. Y'all have a good day. Bellhopper out.